Great comments and questions. I had several people ask about vecuronium, and then someone brought up this drug Nimbix. Not gonna lie, I had to look up Nimbix because I've never heard it called that, but that's the brand name for cisatracurium, which I'm pretty familiar with. So why would you use these other paralyzing drugs like vecuronium or cisatracurium? So vecuronium is much like rocuronium. They're in the same class. And the big difference here is that vecuronium takes about 3 to 5 minutes before you can get really good intubating conditions. However, the half-life is much longer, so one dose of vecuronium will last a lot longer than rocuronium. So in surgeries where you know you're going to be there for a very long time, and let's say during the intubation you don't really need to get intubating conditions quickly, vecuronium might be a great choice. My personal preference though is to still start with rocuronium because you get intubating conditions much quicker, and then you can add on a vecuronium drip or something like that for those longer surgeries. Now, cisatracurium, people talk about that with renal failure. Here are some facts about this. Cisatracurium is not renally metabolized, right? It is metabolized by Hoffman elimination that occurs mostly in the liver. However, its byproducts or its metabolites are still renally cleared. So if you have renal failure, you may not be able to totally clear the cisatracurium, even though it's Hoffman elimination, and you oftentimes still need to reverse the patient with cisatracurium. Another thing to consider, though, is if you give rocuronium to someone with renal failure, you can still reverse the rock with suggamadex, and the rock suggamadex compound is able to be dialyzed out. So rocuronium might be a safe alternative in someone with renal failure. Just some things to consider because I know cisatracurium, not everyone's as familiar with it and it's not as readily available.